Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Well, Air Force One landed one final time here in South Florida today.
Lord. I wish we could stop talking about him, and now he's our neighbor.
Oh.
I mean, he's y'all neighbor. I moved to
Well,
Orlando.
we're not done until for the next hour. We're for sure not done. We're going to talk about it a lot. And we're going to look at our timer, Darren.
I just want to be able to look at the American flag and be happy again, you know? Like, I have PTSD from this guy.
I know, I'm sleeping better.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot less Xanax prescription.
Well, good evening, America, and welcome to It's Happening Out, the world's most popular live gay television talk show. You know what it is. It's 8 p.m. It's Wednesday. And what is January 20th? Well, I'm trying to remember why that's important. We'll probably figure that out sometime in the show. It's January 20th, 2021. I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and let's start by meeting tonight's host of It's Happening Out. First up, this is Power Infiniti, an original host at It's Happening Out. He is a hybrid diva DJ. Good evening, Power.
And a good evening it is indeed.
Yes.
Maybe not for some people, but it is show is over here in the Powerland.
Show is in Lakeland. I love that. This is Faye What? She's a radio host and has a popular YouTube channel. Good evening, Faye.
Hi, everybody. Clutching my pearls, baby.
Clutching my pearls. And this is Bravo's top chef and master of the famous restaurant Bubbles and Pearls, Chef Josie. Good evening, Chef.
What? I'm not taking this mask off all night.
And this is Taisha Best. Taisha identifies as they, them, and works for a major airline and host of the popular show Gay Town Hall, broadcast alive every Thursday at 8 p.m. Welcome to South Florida, Taisha.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome aboard. I'm excited for this flight we saw today on this inauguration flight.
Yeah, were you on Air Force One when it came down here to
I was
South
on
Florida?
my own Air Force in my room, like
That's right.
having some fun.
And this is David Jobin. David is CEO of Our Fund, one of America's most important LGBTQ community foundations that promotes a culture of philanthropy and advances LGBTQ issues as a key national 501c3 charity organization. Welcome, David.
Thanks. I'm so happy to be here tonight on such a momentous evening.
Momentous. And a lot of people might not be aware of Our Fund. David, tell us a little bit about your mission.
We're an LGBTQ community foundation. So we're here to maintain LGBT wealth here in South Florida. So people talk to us about their wills and estates, and we make sure that the values people live their lives by are reflected in their wills and estates, and they can support this incredible community. We always say we're here to make South Florida the most livable place in the country for LGBTQ people.
Yeah, and never has there been a better night for the CEO of Our Fund and LGBT community to be here, and that is on January 20th. However, I don't know if you know, in our community we have a new neighbor north of us, and we have a new neighbor south of us, and we'll talk about that in the show too. So good evening, America. We are the first and most popular live LGBTQ talk show in the world. So much to talk about. Next on It's Happening Out.
This week on It's Happening Out. Join us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. It all starts right now, live on It's Happening Out.
Well, welcome. We're going to begin tonight with happening now breaking news. Duh. For LGBTQ America, the number 46 may be the most important number ever in our lives, the inauguration of Joe Biden. History is made. The Trump book is now closed. The new Biden book is opened, and we, along with everyone else in LGBT America, watched this inauguration today. And what did all of y'all think about what we watched, which is likely, by the way, to be the largest inaugural television audience in history? What did y'all think?
Where do I begin? Oh my God. Oh my God. Did you see Michelle Obama's blowout? It was impeccable. Did you see, oh my God, did you see Kamala? How beautiful she looked? Oh God, Biden's speech was incredible. J-Lo still can't sing. Lady Gaga had a bird on her. Oh my God, I can go on and on. Oh, I cried. Oh, I laughed. I felt. What, Power? What did you think?
Well, first of all, good riddance to bad rubbish. Trump is finally out of here. All I can do is think back at the 4 years, again, of blood, sweat, tears, struggle, rallying of our community that we have done. For Taisha and Josie and Al and everybody else that participated in this debate that happened, I was very, very much against it. But at the end of the day, honey, y'all still won. We still won, and I'm very, very happy to see what a historic moment. The first Black Asian woman, to be voted into and elected and sworn into office as Madam President. We have the first, second gentleman, right? Isn't that what he's called? The second gentleman. We have so many firsts. We have the first transgender member of the administration that he elected or nominated yesterday. We have so many firsts in this administration, and it's just beautiful to see what we're seeing on screen right now. And to every single person that was out there saying it would not happen, Trump is still going to get 4 more years. Even after he won, I had Trumpanzees saying that that this was not going to happen, that something was going to stop it. I had one guy say the GOP has a plan. How does that plan look now, bitch?
I'm just so happy, Power. Thank God we have you on the panel. But you never seen a big girl like me cry as much as I have.
Oh, that's nice.
The reality of it is I was choked up today, and not because I was scared of the years to come, but because hope was restored, because humanity is back on the right track, because I actually believe that our president is going to hold context to peace. And then what is really important is today we get to celebrate, and this is when the real work begins for all of us who stepped up during this election, because the reality of it is that Biden cannot do this alone.
Yeah, I definitely, I have a lot of sentiment to choking up, especially shout out to the poet Laura, the youngest in history. She mentioned that the country wasn't broken, it's just unfinished. And that sentence is probably going to be my 2021 theme. We aren't finished. Black people aren't finished. Trans people aren't finished. Kamala and Biden, the president and the vice president, are going to make sure that everyone is seen and heard. And the fact that he talked about white supremacy and eradicating a lot of the injustices in the law enforcement, I have hope. I'm just looking for action, so I'm looking forward to the policies.
I felt like there was a restoration to dignity that's just been void for the last 4 years. And that office means something to all of us, and it's something that young people in this country should be looking up to. And Trump has just been so despicable in every possible manner for 4 years. And I just breathed a sigh of relief today that we're back to some sense of normality.
Before we move out of our breaking news, we're going to talk about the inauguration and its various influences all the way through this show. But 2 quick polar opposites. First, the negative. Donald Trump, we know now, wanted to leave early in the morning so he could continue to be president of the United States until the transition at approximately 12:01 p.m. And what that allowed him to do was to get the hell out of Dodge, which is what he did, and get on Air Force One, and it still be called Air Force One to fly to South Florida. And because he pulled the stunt that he did of not going to the inauguration, first president in 150 years that has not done that, he flew to Florida on Air Force One, and when he arrived in Palm Beach, it's one of the comments that he made, which was Air Force One flew him home. And he's the first president in the United States where that's ever happened. It's true. Because for other presidents, they waited after the inauguration to participate, and then they flew on the plane, and it was called Air Force Special Flight. He was so petty, he wanted to fly, being called Air Force One.
I mean, he stole someone's taxi.
Exactly. Well, he was still the president, and it was his power. That's the worst of today. The best of today is Joe Biden saying, regardless of everything else, our democracy has prevailed. 3 words brings the entire world to a stop. Democracy has prevailed. The best news ever.
Was I the only one who waved at the video at Trump leaving? I was like, bye, Felicia.
I was
bye.
not waving, but I had a hand gesture for him.
What you just said about Trump and the whole Air Force One thing, that doesn't even resonate with me at all. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn if he was flown on the wind beneath my wings. As long as he got out, as long as he was out, I wouldn't give a hot damn how he got out. He could have got out on Air Force 1, 2, 3, or 4. As long as he was out, right. As long as he was out, that's the only thing that resonates with me. That's the only thing I care about.
Yeah.
No, okay. I'm with Power by bus on a goat with a boat, like right. Dr. Seuss style. Like, I could have rhymed him the way home. I could have rapped him all the way home. But no, I do not care which transportation. Well, so long as it wasn't on one of my flights. Right? I did not care. I'm serving my Coke.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about this, as I said, all the way through. This is a momentous day. It's been a long time since I've seen the LGBTQ community as giddy as they are today. Online, face-to-face, my friends, in every possible way. This was a historic and momentous day. You are watching, as you can see already, a live and unedited LGBTQ talk show. Anything can happen because we are unedited. If you are on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and click the bell for updates. If you're on Facebook, like and share the video. It's easy to start a watch party if you'd like. Let's begin our show beyond the momentous news with our unique meme of the week. And we have a new neighbor here in South Florida.
No.
We have a new neighbor. I'm sorry to report to the largest and the gayest place on planet Earth, but we've got a new neighbor. And it's a snowbird. A snowbird has retired and moved to the Sunshine State. So the meme is called LGBTQ America Says Bye, Felicia.
Bye-bye, Felicia.
He's out.
Do you think he knows how hated he is?
Of course he does.
Do you really think so? I don't think he knows. I think he's really delusional.
I think he
No, I don't think he does. Yeah,
No, I think he knows. He's just a narcissist, so he ignores it.
Yes, men.
But, all right, so if he doesn't, how about his children? His children
Oh, they
doesn't
know he's hated.
They do.
I believe his children, yeah. But he is so self-absorbed, so insulated in his stupidity that I really don't think that he realizes the hatred that people feel toward him. Because in his world, in Trump's world, he is so beloved. He really does believe that.
And conversely, does that mean the joy that we're experiencing in the LGBTQ community, he wouldn't understand that either? Because after all, he's the most pro-LGBTQ president in history.
How do you say that, like with a straight face? I can't. Al,
I can't
please.
either. All right, that's our meme of the week. Let's move into our drinking game, and tonight especially celebratory in our drinking game. Let's play our drinking game of yes or no, and it's called I'd Swallow That. We invite you at home to play right along with us. We have shots. David, we're getting ready probably to get you super drunk, or at least super enjoyable. You're going to enjoy what we're getting ready to do. And if you agree with the question that I ask you or the observation I make, you take the shot. That's how this works. If you don't agree, you don't take the shot, and it's going to be a long night for me. All right, everybody ready? Then let's play I'd Swallow That. A new study shows that 30% of LGBTQ America are in open relationships in 2021, down from 42% in 2014 and 50% in 2010. So, question number one, I'd swallow that. The new report on LGBTQ open relationships is always something I knew was true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you always know that so many open relationships existed
okay.
in our
I didn't
community?
understand.
You threw too many numbers at me, Al. I'm still counting. Hold on.
I know. I don't know.
Next time I'm going to ask you all a question
I was
in
like,
Braille,
what?
sign language. So
I
you
failed
stay right with
Scantron
me.
sheet already. I
Yeah.
bubbled in D.
A positive and a negative, and that's it.
Okay.
Multiple
all right.
choice,
No,
please.
a little more complex tonight. We're now in day one, so we can get better. We can get better. We don't have to trump down it. All right, what do y'all think? The people that took the shot, you always knew that our community is populated with open relationships?
I know that a lot of gay men have open relationships. I don't know about the lesbians. I've told you this, Al, before. I told one of my exes that I wanted an open relationship, and she said yes. She stole my cat, started freaking hacking all my social media, and tracked my car, all right? So that only works for gay men. That 32% is gay men. I think maybe 31% gay men, 1% lesbians. There.
I mean, and you know, if that number is true, Faye, then that is so sad, okay? So sad, because women don't really understand what they're missing out on. You know what I'm saying? First off, you know, this is about your relationship with your partner. You guys get to make up the arrangement and agree to the arrangement that works best for you guys. There's no blueprint to what works in relationship. You know, we got to be adventurous in this sort of thing.
All right.
Yeah, us queer folk have been part of the siblinghood of sluthood for quite some time now. And so as the reigning president for the next couple, 9-10 months, but as the reigning president of the board, I would have to say that we've been there, done that. And the greatest thing about us is queer folk, we know how to communicate. I feel like our foundations for most of our open relationships has been commitment and loyalty, wrapped up in some good old greasy honesty. So, you know, I'm here for that bite. I eat it every day. I can say I have a partner now, so I'll be eating it every day.
Oh, hey.
Oh, wow.
Partner. Oh.
Wow.
I thought y'all knew. Why is everyone like,
news.
oh my God, you
Breaking
have a
news.
relationship?
No.
Breaking news.
Breaking news, yes.
Always break good stuff here on It's
Yeah,
Happening
that's
Now.
exactly right.
Yeah, I'm dating
Speaking
for
of
the
that.
first time in 10 years.
Speaking of that, let's move on to our second. And did y'all know that we have a big birthday this week and a new monument in the state of Tennessee in tribute to her?
Yes.
It was announced this week. So question number 2, I'd swallow that. Dolly Parton at 75 is an inspiration to me.
Cheers.
I would take 2
Go,
shots of
Dolly.
that.
Oh, we're all big Dolly fans, are we?
Water.
Dolly Parton at 35 was a big inspiration to me. I mean, she has always been, you know, thing about Dolly Parton is I'm not a country fan. I'm not really a country connoisseur, but Dolly Parton is like, ever since I was a kid, she's like the one person in country that has been able to cross over, you know, so many genres, so many lines, so many different, you know, classes and groups of people. She appeals to so many. She has just been that. She's kind of like, I don't know, like the Michael Jackson of country music. She just, everybody loves her.
Yeah.
But
No,
she doesn't.
Dolly is incredible. Look, that's why I got these. we're part of the same crew, you know? Dolly Parton is a huge inspiration, and by huge, I mean huge inspiration.
Huge.
Yeah.
She's just, I've had the pleasure of interviewing Dolly, and she is just
What?
incredible across the board. And she's got, you know, she owns up to her plastic surgery, you know? And she's got a good doctor, obviously, because she looks incredible.
Incredible.
Hey, listen, girl, Faye, I would be remiss if I did not mention what a huge fan my wife is of Dolly Parton. And I had no idea
Marcy
that
Miller.
you have, you know, interviewed her. So we're going to talk later, girl.
Yeah, we're gonna talk later.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Dolly
birthday.
Parton.
Let's move on. A new study has revealed this week of the low PrEP use Only 10% of gay men in this new study are active in their use of Truvada and Descovy. Many in the study started with use but quit before even the end of the study. So question number 3, I'd swallow that. I think the study shows we don't really care about the effects of HIV.
I think it shows that there's just been a real misunderstanding about.
Wait, nobody's taking the shot. You don't think that that's
it's
what
more
this study
about,
reflects?
There's been a lot of confusion around messaging, and I don't think it has as much to do with people's sex lives as it does their misunderstanding of what PrEP is and how safe it is for them.
Does it shock any of you that the new study shows only 10% of a potentially affected community, not infected, the community that is in the target demographic of gay men that would be sexually active, etc.?
I'm super surprised.
It doesn't surprise you?
No, it surprises me 100 because, I mean, again, for South Florida standards, the people that I know use PrEP on a daily, you know, and it's not just because they have one partner. So I don't know, I'm very surprised by those numbers.
The study reported, by the way, that the principal impediments, according to those in the study, and it was a large study, was the cost of the drug, the access to the doctor, or the potential shaming of the medical recommendation and embracement of getting the drug, and the inconvenience of taking the drug on a daily basis. Those were the big 3 reasons.
We're in a gay mecca where doctors are really well versed in this. So I think doctors in South Florida are giving accurate information. But I think across the country, I would say the medical profession is still on very uncertain grounds.
Yeah.
I think this is typical of most pill takers. Most pill takers can't consistently take a pill, even if it's a heart medication. And again, you just mentioned accessibility concerning doctors. That's especially going to affect people of color, and not just gay men, but gay men of color in terms of accessibility. So I'm absolutely not surprised that it dropped to 10%. I think we got excited that Truvada was a preventative and opportunity to eradicate HIV, and I think that nostalgia, that honeymoon type feeling, like, wore off, and this is where we're at. We're at to where it is with all other pill taking.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on because I need more shots.
We missed one.
So let's ask the question in a different kind of way. The defeat of Donald Trump, the attack on the Capitol, the memorial at COVID-19, and now the incredible inauguration events of today. Democracy wins. The question is, I'd swallow that. I secretly thought this day would never come. I really didn't believe it was going to happen. And I can't believe I'm taking this shot, but I am.
I'm going to be sober this entire episode.
Power, I have to start with you. In your rants and ravings over the last years, you really thought the end conclusion would be what happened today? Did you really believe it?
Well, your question, the question is, I secretly never thought that this would never come. No, that I can't take a shot to that, because of course I thought it would come. I worked toward that. I had hoped toward that, and that's what I set my sight on. Now, when we had a previous guest on, I believe his name is Scott, whatever his name is, the president of Americans for Trump. Yeah, no, the one that's the president of Americans for Trump, or whatever the hell the name is, who told me, oh, you guys better be ready for another 4 years of Trump. What I told him on this show was I am ready for that. And I was prepared. I was prepared for the worst, but I certainly hoped and expected the best. So I cannot take that shot. And exactly what we set our sights on happening happened. We won. Bring Scott back on the show, by the way.
Cricket.
All right. Anyone else?
See how he's going.
You thought we would get to where we were. You were confident.
No, I was absolutely confident. I think when Black people know that we in fucking trouble, we fucking save ourselves. And that's what we did. We carried Georgia. Georgia got blue because of Black folk. Yeah. Like, Black women came in, did a lot of grassroots organizing. Philadelphia came through. you know, and that's the thing. Like, we saw that democracy was in trouble. We saw that the work that we did to eradicate racism was in trouble, and we, as a collective, as a country, we're ready for a change. And so we came back to the ballots, we came back to the polls, and we voted again, which is why there's probably, once the polls come out, there's a high number of everyone coming out to vote. It's unprecedented, namely the mail-in ballots, the millennials and the Zs, like, everyone came out because we knew change needed to happen, and we were empowered to do so.
We have to remind ourselves also, this was the most lopsided election in decades. This was not close. Just because he continued to lie that he won by millions of votes, this was nowhere near close. And no, I knew this was going to happen 4 years ago. I knew we'd be tired of him and he'd be gone.
So am I the only one that has PTSD? I have PTSD. I can't see big trucks. I see the American flag. I freak out. Like, I'm the only one that has PTSD. I was scared when he got out of the motorcade. When he walked the last hundreds of feet, I was like, please, God, please don't let anything happen to him. Please don't let anything happen to him. I'm sorry. I was fearful.
Yeah. All right. Well, interesting. We're here. Whether we thought it, whether we believed it, whether we embraced it, we're here. And that's what the most important thing is. Let's move out of I'd Swallow That. And next, let's catch up from the news from Hollywood and the world of entertainment. We call this segment Celebrity Hot Topic of the Week. GLAAD is reporting that we have the first decline in television LGBTQ characters in 5 years. This is the first time that in 2020, the number of LGBT representation in our television has declined. Shonda Rhimes was the only straight producer with consistent LGBTQ character development in shows. The only straight one. Ryan Murphy, etc., is LGBT. So in the news, Shonda Rhimes this week calls out Hollywood players for the lack of LGBTQ representation. What do y'all think about what's going on in television and Hollywood?
Let me tell you this, okay? Being a product of the media and having my run-in with the media amplifies what's trending. In 2020, what we found was residual from the climate that President Trump and his administration was creating in the world. It was uncool to be LGBTQ plus and or black and or brown and or any other color beside white. What we saw trending—
Or male.
Or male, okay? What we saw trending in the media in Hollywood was just, again, a reflection of the climate and environment we were living in the United States.
Other thoughts? What we're watching in television and decline of LGBT representation.
No, I agree. There was a lot more religious, Christian-based movies and TV shows that came out. There was a lot of military-type movies and shows that came out. And that, again, is what was politicized. And unfortunately, America follows the lead of politics, and that has been consistent across, you know, the election. So maybe I'm hoping, this is another hope, that the social cultural of this new administration will actually mimic what the administration is wanting to put out, which is a pro-LGBTQ, pro-people of color agenda. Yes, we're gonna have the agenda, and I'm excited for it.
Let me modify the conversation on this just slightly and ask if y'all think that this is true. Many people would argue in 2021, we don't need that representation. It's not necessary for acceptance in our community. And so if we lose representation or it's not the same percentage, it doesn't really matter because we don't need LGBT in front of America in the same percentages that we've seen in the past because we've already arrived.
I thought that when you made the claim, because I think it's the same reason that there are fewer and fewer gay bars across the country every year, right? People would say they're not needed. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do think the more we morph into general society. But you know, I watched Shonda Rhimes' Bridgerton. There was one gay character. It wasn't really much of a portrayal. So I think also it could just be coincidence this year, right? I don't know that it's part of a trend.
Well, and 2020 was a hard year for a lot of shows, guys. A lot of shows could not record, could not film because of COVID. So let's, give them a year.
In fairness, GLAAD makes note of that. And GLAAD makes note that in COVID-19, there was a significant reduction in production overall. And as a result, the extra efforts in terms of minority inclusions in television became more difficult in 2020 because of COVID. Now, whether that's true or not, they make that observation.
You said, Al, well, does the representation really matter that much because we've arrived? Absolutely it does. And I think that if we've learned anything from these past 4 years, it's that we cannot take our liberties, our freedoms, and our visibility for granted. Because before Trump, I thought that we had arrived and everything was hunky-dory. And, one good thing about the Trump administration, it did open my eyes to a lot of things. It opened my eyes to the fact that we have rights that shouldn't be blessings, but they are blessings. The fact that we live in a country that allows us to have the freedoms that we have. But those freedoms and those rights could always be put at risk. And we have seen that. And that's a lesson that we should take to heart. So visibility is always important. When we start feeling that we have arrived, so there's nothing else to worry about, that's where the danger lies.
Interesting observation. Well, that is our discussion on entertainment for tonight. Next, we report that Happening Out Television Network helps support our LGBTQ community, giving them the visibility that we're talking about at this moment. An example is Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. We are broadcasting from our permanent set in supporting that partnership. The network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ religious broadcast in the world, with more than 30,000 people watching every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and it's totally live. We encourage you to tune in. Our campaign of sponsorship proudly supports Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church. Watch this. Well, we'd also like to thank our set designer, Concepto Modern Living, here in Fort Lauderdale, for making this set in this amazing queer church campus possible. And finally, we thank It's Happening Out sponsor, Best Western I-95 Fort Lauderdale. This is the closest and best choice to the famous Wilton Drive, and our host and guests stay at this LGBTQ allied partner. We encourage you to stay here when visiting South Florida. And I have the wonderful privilege of saying, power your mist. Oh, wait, hold on. We have somebody else that's staying at the Best Western. Taisha, how was your experience? Did you get the Power Infiniti suite?
I think they don't want to give it to me.
Because you ain't power.
I got a fridge, I got TV. Like, I don't need a lot. I mean, as a flight attendant, as long as I have a fridge and a TV, I'm...
Wait, you're not a prima donna?
No, I just wear different hair. That doesn't make me like prima donna.
I just love how he threw it to Taisha as if to say, well, if Taisha has it, so that's a substitution. Just because Taisha's black and I'm black again, all black people ain't the same.
Can you imagine the hotel staff be like, well, this black dude isn't here, so let's sub in this black lady.
Is that what you just said? I said.
That's literally how he was conveying.
Ben's been saying it for the last 2 years now. We love you.
Exactly.
I guess I should shave my head bald. Yeah. Like, dang.
Well, all you have to do is take the wig off. We love the Best Western. They're a great partner at It's Happening Out. Next up, It's Happening Out. We like to bring attention to the LGBTQ community in the best thing of the week. I would like to read too. But you can imagine, or rather, can you imagine getting sex advice from your father? I mean, really intimate advice. Well, it happened this week, and it's the best thing of the week, called Gay Father Shares Wholesome Sex Advice with His Gay Son.
Oh.
Watch this. And again, we don't hear sound.
Oh, darn. They're hot, both of them.
Yeah, I need a bias. Dang.
How cute are they?
Seriously. Okay. All right, everyone's going to have to pretend that they've heard it.
Austin was, who's the oldest person you've dated?
Dated or had sex with?
Both, it don't matter.
I think the oldest I probably had sex with was definitely in their 50s.
Was that for money?
Shut up. Are you top, bottom, and verse? I really, like, can we just move on to the next?
Cheers, kid.
Do you have any sex advice for me?
Absolutely. Enjoy it. It's not bad. It's one of the most potent and beautiful things two people can ever share.
Well, sometimes it's more than two.
Oh. Austin was a good parent to you when you were growing up, and oh shit, what could have I done differently?
No parent is perfect.
Whole video is amazing.
Oh, that was so
Can anyone
So cute.
imagine if you're gay, your father, regardless of their sexuality,
That's disgusting. I would
talking
never.
with them in this way? Can you imagine? What do y'all think about what you just watched? Best thing of the week.
It is the best thing of the week, aside from inauguration. It was beautiful. I'm touching my pearls again. I think I'll call my dad after this and ask him for sex advice.
I'm taking one of the shots I didn't use earlier.
Yes,
Just
me
want you to
too.
know that.
That's a great idea,
Yeah,
David.
it's so sweet.
That inspired me.
I've got a shot.
That was
Wow.
so sweet.
Wow,
I've been
wow.
I've been sharing sex advice with my mother though, however, since I was 14. Oh, and now she's like returning the favor and telling me about all her sexcapades when she goes on cruises. No cruises in the last year, but God, before that I was like, Ma.
I know your mother. I know you say,
Yes.
Ma, please.
Yeah, I would say the sex advice that I got from my dad when he was a pastor was way different.
Your
when
father
he-
was a pastor.
I'm a preacher's kid and a military brat. So the sex advice I got then versus now that he's retired and not a pastor included tequila and just so you know, I may also be kinky too, and I left.
All right, well, we're gonna leave. We're gonna let that be the soundbite on best thing of the week.
Let's leave.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to our segment, What's on Your Mind? Each host is getting ready to tell us in just 30 seconds what is important to them this week. But remember, it's just 30 seconds or you're going to hear this bell just like that. Power, let's start with you. Power Infiniti, what's on your mind this week?
Well, I'm going to say something that a lot of Republicans probably wouldn't say. But I'm going to say that now that this new administration has come into power, I am actually going to hold them accountable. And I am actually going to expect that the things that they promised and they campaigned on are done. And if they do something that is out of step with my principles and beliefs, I'm going to speak out about it, because I do not look at my leaders as the guidance for my moral compass. They have to fit into my moral compass for them to be leaders. And that's something that a lot of people cannot say.
Okay, and remember, you're going to be listening for the bell. Chef Josie, what's on your mind this week?
Okay, guys, I'm going to be really vulnerable right now, but I think I'm going through a midlife crisis, okay? I've been doing a lot of research on this. If there's anyone out there, I think it started when I was 45. I just said it out loud. Oh my God. Okay, so anyways, I'm having a breakdown. I'm getting hot flashes. This is crazy. So anyone out there who wants to give me some advice entering into the second part of my life, please hit me up at Chef Josie on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, okay?
I just provide an exclamation point. That's an amazing share. And she is totally serious in terms of request of help and support. And we're all there for you. Let's go to Faye. What's on your mind this week?
So I'm thinking about dogs like I usually am, and I want to welcome Major and Champ to the White House. I am super happy that Joe Biden has pets. I never trust someone without pets, okay? I don't care if it's a fish, a bird, a pet rock. You've got to have something as a pet. You have to nurture something if you ain't got kids, all right? So, welcoming Champ and Major to the White House. For everybody out there, get a pet, go to your local shelter and adopt just like our president did.
Absolutely. Very good. And Taisha Best, what's on your mind this week?
Okay, 1, get your COVID shot in your non-dominant arm. 2, please wear your mask on the planes or we will kick you off and I will smile about it. 3, I am dating. I also need new sex advice that doesn't involve masturbation because I am a pro at that. Okay, 4, I am excited about the inauguration and I really can't wait to see what the union policies that he has because Biden is major on unions.
Yeah. All right. I'm still in the masturbation mode.
I had a question for Taisha's thing because she just said something that I didn't even know.
Sure.
Why, Taisha? Why should you get it in the non-dominant arm? Educate me. Why?
Okay, so like the first 24 to 36 hours, the shot is super sore, super bruisey. So if you get it on your non-dominant arm, it's the arm that you don't use as much, so you won't like miss out on doing a lot of your activity like writing, arming and disarming doors.
You think about masturbating?
People if you're fisting.
In other words, let me translate this for you, Power. For you specifically, because you use both hands so much, you'll have no problem.
If you're ambidextrous, yes, you're fine.
And David Jobin, what's on your mind this week?
So I'm going to surprise myself by saying this, but over the past 48 hours with this inauguration, the thing that really amazed me was the respect I have for our armed services. That sounds so Americana and cheesy, but I really felt incredibly safe today with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris sitting there, knowing they were protected by America's best. When you watch the men and women today rise to this occasion, I can't believe that they make this sacrifice for us.
Yeah, that's a very interesting observation. Okay, that is what's on our minds this week. Next up, if we were standing around the LGBTQ water cooler, up next would be what we're all talking about. We refer to it as the hot topic of the week, and this is a little bit different in what you may think is coming. With the events of today, yesterday, and COVID, and the memorial, and today's inauguration, it could be easy to pay attention to the history LGBTQ America participated in today. But, well, actually, as we talk about Kamala, let's watch this first. Watch this.
But while I may be the first woman in this office, I will not be the last. Because every little girl watching tonight sees that this is a country of possibilities. And to the children of our country, regardless of your gender, our country has sent you a clear message. Dream with ambition, lead with conviction, and see yourselves in a way that others may not, simply because they've never seen it before. But know that we will applaud you every step of the way.
Kamala. That's it. This is a country of possibilities. That was a challenge, not a statement. So our hot topic is simply titled, History Made, Black Asian woman, vice president. How does that wash over y'all?
I'm so glad that I am alive to see this.
Yeah.
You know, I as a growing up, I always used to say, I hope to see a black president one day. And when Barack Obama was running, myself and others in our community did not actually think it was going to happen. But yet there we were, alive to see it. And then I've always said, I can't wait to see a woman president. And we still don't have a woman president yet, but I guess it makes sense that this would be the first step, you know, a woman vice president. And then, you know, perhaps she might ascend to the presidency at some point or become a president, or she certainly paved the way, because now we can see, America can see that it is possible for a woman to hold that office, to be that leader in an administration, in a presidential role. So I'm so proud to be able to be alive right now and to be an American, as a new American, to be an American, to see such a historic moment. It's surreal.
And such a strong woman. Like, you already know that she's not a Pence. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and the empowerment. Like, when she was walking with her niece today after inauguration, I mean, I was ugly crying. I lost my lashes and everything. Like, it was just too beautiful, too beautiful.
And you know, Kamala is not only a powerful woman, not only a fierce woman, not only an ambitious, driven, focused woman, she's also cool. You get what I mean? And so, you know, that's like what President Obama did in his during his administration. He brought the swag to the White House. And, you know, I'm so happy to see Kamala out there bringing the swag back to the White House. And I hope to see her really like brush this country with the stroke of coolness, so that we can all tap into that instead of the hate that's been nurtured for the last 4 years.
What?
You know, I watched this week the COVID memorial, and that night of the COVID memorial, I watched Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity instead of MSNBC or CNN, because I wanted to hear what they had to say. You know what they had to say about the COVID memorial?
Nothing.
Not one word.
Really?
In 2 hours of programming, they did not show 5 seconds of it.
400,000 people and nothing?
Instead, over 2 hours, they talked about white bashing, and more white bashing. And it brings me back to this moment of going, you know, we talked about this earlier, Powers observation. My God, we've got a woman as vice president, and that is a significant step, because now she is one step away, and automatically the Democratic nominee's front runner for president of the United States in the future. Black, Asian woman. That in and of itself. And also, when I watched her today, I have to admit, I cried, because I just thought it was a beautiful moment. And I would be remiss if, sitting in my seat, I suspect David Jobin thinks the exact same way. I go back to the 70s and want to tell you somebody that was so motivating to me that I didn't even understand. I knew the magnetism, but I didn't understand how important. Shirley Chisholm from Texas. How she spoke, how she led, how she carried herself, and how she could have been president or vice president of the United States. And today, we learned, 40 years later, she could have been. It was just not the right time. And so we also take a moment to go, Geraldine Ferrara.
Oh, wow.
And we also take a moment to say, somebody sitting on that stage that came pretty damn close, Hillary Clinton. All of them get, and us get, to watch the momentous history of today. That's what.
And Kamala stood on all those women's shoulders. Let's be clear. She stood on all those women's shoulders, because if it were not for 1, 2, 3, if it was not for that progression of women that forged the way and paved the way for her, she would not be able to be where she is. Now, I'm going to ask my co-panelists this. We have, as a child, I used to say, I can't wait. I hope I'm alive to see the first Black president. I've seen that. I hope I'm alive to see a woman of color take the presidency in some way. I've seen that. Does anybody think that we will be alive to see the first LGBTQ president?
For sure.
I think so too.
I sure
For
hope so,
sure.
Power.
Yeah. Pete Buttigieg was almost the last man standing on the Democratic side. I mean, he got incredibly close.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's the youngest presidential candidate in history. Let's face it. Pete Buttigieg does a good job as Secretary of Transportation, continues to build his resume, continues to show America being gay is not scary, being LGBTQ is not scary. He continues to show that. The guy is 30 years away from the age of Joe Biden. Are you kidding? Wow. Over the next 30 years, and I think likely him, but there's many, many people in the wings that are exactly the same. The answer definitively, Power, is yes.
Yeah, I just also, you have to take a moment and realize how much more labor they're going to have to do to get the recognition that cisgendered white men have gotten. Pete's resume is going to have to be 3 times the size as, your normal politician, just to prove the experience that some others didn't have to prove. And though I am excited for an LGBTQ person to take the presidential mantle, I will also probably have a little bit of sadness about how much labor and how much of an effort they would have had to have in order to get to that position.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget, please, older white man who has been always the joke is the white privilege.
WP.
White privilege makes the observation. In big sections of my demographic community, Black people are scary. Latino people are scary. Gay men and LGBT community is scary. And until we overcome those fears, you can't get to the logical progression that you need to do. So we've got to keep chipping away, because Black people are not scary, and Latino people are not scary, and LGBTQ are not scary.
Well, Al, and also if we start to spread out the wealth and we share that wealth in the brown and Black communities, then maybe we'll start to see that fear dissipate.
Yeah. Any final thoughts? Today, Kamala.
I'm brought back to the debates where she called out Biden. You see, call out a white guy, you end up vice president of the United States.
That's a great observation.
Yeah, I'm excited for Kamala to actually put forth an agenda that many people thought negatively of her when she was in Oakland, California. In that area, they didn't think that she was for Black and brown people. So now she's seated in a seat of power with the correct rule structure in order to make the change that she probably wanted to back then, but couldn't, but can now. So I'm hoping that, again, actions match policy.
Yeah, great point. All right, let's move out of our hot topic of the week, hot topic of the day, hot topic of the year so far in 2021. Let's move on. There are lots of silly and important headlines in the news this week, both. We're going to discuss them in our segment called Saved by the Bell. But there's a twist here. We are only going to discuss each topic for just 1 minute. At the end of the minute, you're going to hear this bell, and you've got to stop because we're going to move on. So everybody understands our rules. Saved by the Bell. Here we go. Poland has the worst LGBTQ rights policy of any EU country. Saved by the Bell, headline number 1. 3 Polish women face up to 2 years in jail for LGBTQ plus friendly poster of saints with rainbow halos.
I want to travel soon, and Poland might not be where I'm going.
Or Hungary.
Or hungry.
Listen, artists take risks, and the risks come with, they come with their whatever you want to call it in this situation. I don't even know what Poland's calling it, but this is what is happening. As an artist, you're living they're not just being an artist, they're being an activist in this moment. So this is a risk that they took by putting those pieces of art out.
Yeah,
So
art is one of the best representations of freedom, and any way that you can be oppressive towards the arts and music that's how it happens. That's the first step towards tyranny. So, not surprised.
problematic Poland. I mean, isn't it the same country that we have talked about many, many times
Many.
for their anti-LGBT policies and their stances? I mean, something really needs to be done on a world stage because this is a humanitarian issue.
Yeah, and just in quick closure to Power's point, he gets his wish. In the first week in January, the president of the EU said, we are going to withhold funds to countries in the EU that discriminate against the LGBT community. It's coming.
All right.
LGBTQ South Florida, guess what? You got a new neighbor to the north today. He flew in on Air Force One. The Donald, you've heard of him, right? But we also got a new neighbor to the south in Miami. Saved by the Bell headline 2. It's official. Ivanka and Jared are our new neighbors in Miami. Sigh.
I think they're going to have a lot of legal problems in New York, and I don't think they're going to be spending a lot of time in South Florida.
From your lips
really
to
don't.
God's ears,
I don't.
David.
She's not going to be running for senator. She's going to be in jail.
Yeah, that's what I said too. But I'm telling you right now, Miami, you start acting stupid, any more stupid than we already are acting with the influence of these guys, and I swear to God, I'm moving out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long, again, as neither of them are on any of my flights, as they fly to and from all the court appearances, I will be totally okay.
Anybody signing up for Ivanka governor or Ivanka
No.
Rubio's seat in the Senate in
Hell no.
2022?
No.
Although I'd love to watch that blood match between the two of them.
Yes.
But I mean, look at that. And Marco Rubio's out there like campaigning for Donald Trump, and his daughter's coming for his seat.
Right.
You're so stupid, bro.
You know, to Josie's point, if there's one place the Trumps can still hide in America, it's Florida.
Florida.
Right.
because
It is.
Australia, right.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's move on. Remember the baby Trump blimp at events across America? We laughed and laughed. We reported on it. It's happening out and also at Q News tonight. Well, where does that blimp go from here? Saved by the headline number 3, London gets it. Trump baby blimp finds a permanent home. The London Museum.
Wow.
Sorry, Britain.
Did they lose a bet or something? They wanted it? They wanted this big, old, tan, ugly thing.
Wow, I wonder how much they paid for it. That's cool.
I think they should just deflate it. I think it should just be deflated like he's been and be done with it.
And deflated is
Inside
Right.
an exhibition
away.
box
Right.
of bars.
Right.
I think
Because that's where he'll be
that
living.
I think it should be flown above Mar-a-Lago or wherever. That's the perfect place for it.
I just don't want to
Like
see
one
it
of those
anymore.
banners behind the plane.
Right. I mean, that's a lot of, again, he's taken up a lot of space.
up our head
And
space.
I'm sure Mar-a-Lago, if they're his hero down there, they would enjoy that space being used in the form of his blimp. Like, I don't know.
You have to admit, it's an iconic image over the last 4 years. So I guess it is art in that respect. I'm sure that's what the London Museum
Art imitates reality.
Exactly. All right. A flurry of overnight pardons. 147 to be exact.
No way.
Sigh. But the big one we were waiting for, it didn't exactly happen. Saved by the Bell, headline number 4. Joe Exotic fails to get a pardon from Donald Trump, even though he had a limo ready and waiting to go to the White House.
No. Tiger King.
No. I'm so out of it. I thought he was dead. I really watched the whole show. I thought he died. He's dead, right?
Yeah.
Listen, during this election cycle, I thought it was a joke, but I received a piece of mail that had a postcard with Joe Exotic, and it was Trump releases Joe Exotic. I just threw it away off of my refrigerator the other day, and I swear to God, I thought that was a joke, but this was really happening. Well,
Did you
clearly
see the
it didn't.
news that Tiger King was the 3rd most popular Netflix show of 2020? I'm sorry, Barry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
if that limousine would like to stay out there for the next 22 years, then it will be right up when he's actually released. But unfortunately, I guess he still has to do his time.
Yeah, that's what's coming. All right. If there are signs of what we can expect over the next 4 years for the LGBT community, it's this headline. It brought us all to a stop yesterday. Saved by the Bell headline 5. Biden appoints Dr. Rachel Levine as Assistant Secretary of Health, a historic first ever transgender appointment.
She's a superstar in Pennsylvania. I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm from Pittsburgh. I can't tell you the number of friends who are celebrating this on Facebook. I mean, Pennsylvania's done incredibly well through the pandemic, in large part because of Dr. Levine.
This is controversial. Well, really, because of some of the minority in our community, I call them the underbelly and the ignorant in our community, that are transphobic. And I've seen a lot of nasty things being said about her. But at the end of the day, whether you agree with transgender individuals or not, she is qualified. And that should have no bearing, who she is or her gender has no bearing on the fact that she's qualified and competent to do the job that she's appointed to do.
Power, can I take an opportunity to frame your observation you just made to the other extreme? You just called out portions of the LGBTQ community that are transphobic. On the day of the announcement of Dr. Levine, Tucker Carlson at Fox News spent 20 minutes on how terrible this appointment was and never once explained why. And the reason was, the whole reason it was terrible is he's transphobic. So portions of our community are just like Tucker Carlson at Fox News. Isn't that shocking?
That comparison is scary.
Okay. Well, we're the LGBTQ community, so let's have, and move out of Saved by the Bell, let's have some sex, or at least some relationships, or at least some conversation about sex and relationships. So let's play another game. Our game asks who you do. David, you know what we're talking about,
I know
right?
what you're doing, yeah. I'm all over it.
Why you do it. Taisha, you know what we're talking about?
I do. I've done it before, yeah.
Okay. And what do you do to 3 different people? So Taisha's all in now. Tonight, our game is Shag, Marry, Chop. And our theme is in honor of the Oscars. Oh, wait. I mean the gay Oscars. The Gay Video News Porn Awards that took place this week. So this week we're going to play with the porn stars, lions and tigers and bears, oh my. Representing our first up muscle boys is Austin Wolf.
But they have clothes on.
And then representing their mid-50s is Rocco Steele. And then representing men of color, Tafari Zulu. So let's play Shag, Marry, Chop, and that very special surprise that Rocco has. I seed that in case y'all don't know. Let's play Shag, Marry, Chop. Austin Wolf, Rocco Steele, or Tafari Zulu. Powers, since you're in remote, let's start with you.
Well, this is easy for me because I've long
Thirsted?
had a crush. Yes, had a crush. I don't know about thirst. Don't try to make me sound like that, Al. But I've had a crush on 2 of these people. So I am going to shag Rocco Steele, or shall I say, let him shag me?
I was going to say.
Yeah, let him shag me to death.
Would that work?
And then,
would
will
that work? Yeah. Is it compatible, possible?
Oh, yes. Oh, definitely. And then after he shagged me to death and I'm revived and resurrected, I'm going to marry Austin Wolf. And that, of course, unfortunately leaves Tafari out in the cold. I don't really know him, and I've I have to get to these two first. So
Yeah. Okay. And who'd like to go next?
All right, I'll go next.
Josie.
So, listen, I know that Rocco has
Yes.
the resume, okay?
He's called 10 by 7. That's his brand. His underwear brand is called
He's
10
what?
by 7.
Yeah, so
10 by
maybe
7.
simply, I was going to go with Tafari, but just for the name, I figured Tafari would be with a name like that, you got to back it up, right? I was going to shag Tafari, but I think we're going to shag Rocco. I don't know if we're compatible, but whatever, And I think that I would marry Tafari, again, for the same reason I was going to shag him, was because I think that with that name, we would just be exotic, And then see, Austin, I've shagged a lot of boys like you in the past.
Oh, okay. And David, who would you shag?
So we were given a heads up that this would be the topic today, so I did my research.
Of course you did. Good for you. That's the CEO of our fund. He is exhausted.
I made time for this today.
Yes.
I would shag Rocco Steele for all the reasons
The obvious
before.
reasons. Okay.
I would marry Tafari Zulu, and I would do away with just Austin Wolf. He just didn't do a lot for me during my research.
That's funny. And don't you think it's funny that we're doing Oscar-worthy gay porn stars and they're all clothed? I think that is.
They weren't clothed in my research.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Now we're clear. Faye, who are you shagging?
So, okay, you said Rocco was 10 by 7. What did you say?
10 by 7 is his underwear brand, and in everything else too.
Whoo, far. Okay, so I am shagging Mr. Wolf. Just looks like he's gonna be howling at me. I like it. I am gonna marry Mr. Tafari because I feel that we could go on safari, baby. And I'm chopping Rocco because you ain't getting that thing near me. You crazy.
Typical woman. I see. And Taisha Best, who are you shagging?
So I hope Rocco is versed because I would shag Rocco. I would buy his own branded dildo. I'm sure he has one out there.
He does have one. Absolutely.
We would be versed with that. It would be some great stuff. Cool. I would marry Tafari because I would just want that every day, all day.
He is cute.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 11 Z's.
Yeah.
Tea time.
Yeah.
It would be tea and me and Zulu. Yes. And then I would chop Austin and Wolf because, what other people have said, I've had that over and over again when I was in college and I was stupid and I didn't think there was anything else left for me. And
Oh, wow. That's very interesting. I love
changed
that.
my ways.
All right. And before we leave, I'm not going to select here, but I want to clue you all in on something that you may not know. Rocco and I are very close in age. I've had dinner with him twice. And one of the dinners that I had, then we went and he had a performance and I sat and watched his performance event that he did. And I was just shocked that this guy that I had just had dinner with was doing the performance of the business that he was working in. No problem at all, but it was shocking. But one thing that I want to tell you is so interesting about Rocco Steele, for him to be one of the most successful LGBT gay porn stars in the world and be in his mid-50s is amazing. It's an all stop in this industry that Rocco Steele can cross over in that way. And second, his real profession, he's an attorney. Amazing, amazing. Congratulations, Rocco Steele. You're a great, great guy. All right. Well, before we end the show tonight, we're going to introduce our sponsor, and that is Jet's Pizza. And I've got it right here in front of me. And I love their cauliflower. As I always talk, I look right over it and going and showing you Jet's Pizza. If you are coming to South Florida, you've got to try this pizza, and it is the choice of the LGBT community in South Florida, Jet's Pizza. We're getting ready to enjoy it, everyone here on our host cast and production cast tonight. Well, that's it, America. Another week with you and the world's first and most popular LGBTQ talk show in the entire world. And before we sign off, let's hear one final time from our host for one final good night. And let's begin with Power Infiniti.
Well, happy Inauguration Day. This is the beginning of a brand new chapter, and I'm glad that we are here to cover it. Join us tomorrow for Gay Town Hall, and catch us next week right here at It's Happening Out.
And my good friend Chef Josie.
Oh man, guys, listen, I'm so excited about today's events and historical events. I'm so grateful that you guys who were out there, who voted for democracy, showed up this time. So thank you. And guys, today, let's celebrate. But tomorrow, remember, it's time to get to work. And all of us who were engaged need to remain engaged and continue to stay involved. Until then, stay safe and stay healthy and stay positive. I'll see you next week.
And to my new good friend, Faye What?
Faye What? Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Faye What, and catch me here on Monday and Wednesdays on Q News with my favorite white person in the world, Mr. Al.
Yeah, favorite white person, exactly. And my Gay Town Hall partner host, Taisha Best.
Oh, hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful flight that we just did. Please, keep your seats in the upright position unless your feet does not need to be in an upright position because of this last segment. But I'm happy to be joining Gay Town Hall tomorrow, so I'll catch you there.
And our fun leader, David Jobin.
It's such a great way to end Inauguration Day to be here. I've been saying to everyone that this is my New Year's Day. So my New Year's resolution is I'm going to try to be more positive and kind of respect and honor of Joe Biden's whole tact, right? Let's bring the country together. We have to do something different than we've done the past 4 years. So Happy New Year's.
Yeah, what a very wonderful message that is. We ask you, is what you've watched tonight important to you? You've sat at this kitchen table right along with the rest of us. We take note, Inauguration Day. The failed story of Donald Trump is now closed. But as host of Q News Tonight and It's Happening Out, I have one final question for Donald Trump. Would you have run for president if you would have known the disgraceful way that it would have all ended today? You've destroyed your image, your brand, your family. I predict you won't recover from this. The nonsense of a cable network that you're going to start, or your real estate, your position in the world and America. It's done for him. But it's a warning to despots everywhere in America. This will be your conclusion in your actions if they are your words. You, Donald Trump, are a sinking stone to the bottom of the lake. It's just a shame you have to become just an old man now, ignored, a snowbird, retiring to Florida. But make no mistake, you're done. And in every victory that comes next with Biden and Harris and for the LGBTQ community, it will be one more proof of your disgrace. COVID is going to be solved. We are going to wear masks until it is. Vaccine is going to be distributed. Economy is going to improve. But most importantly of all, the uncivil war that President Biden talks about today is going to end. Humanity returns to our country and America. Finally, America is going to return to the world. So fly on Air Force One this final time. Because with that disgraceful flight, Trump is now done. I hope his name never crosses my lips ever again. We're going to be with you every night on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. And remember, if it's important to you, it's happening out. A joyous day. Good night, America.